Up next on your CU Newscast, we have club music, heritage, and the Affordable Care Act.
Also, a famous poet rises from the grave on Concord's campus. All of this and more on WMLT News, starting now.
The Concord community is mourning the loss of Alice Cookie Cunningham. Cunningham, known as Miss Cookie to students, was the cashier at the Concord University Dining Hall. Miss Cookie was described by one staff member as being, quote, sweet, wonderful, caring, and friendly, and having a great warm smile, end quote. Miss Cookie interacted with students and faculty on a daily basis. Cookie touched several lives while working at Concord. In fact, when the news of Miss Cookie's cancer reached campus, students held a fundraiser to help her pay for the treatments. Cunningham is survived by her husband, Daniel Cunningham, a sister, brother-in-law, and many nieces and nephews. With rumors flying around left and right, it's hard to separate truth from myth regarding the Affordable Care Act. It seems the predictions are separated by obvious party lines. Jared Klein found out more about how the act will affect West Virginians.
The Affordable Care Act, often referred to as Obamacare, can be very confusing at times. The act is nearly 1,000 pages long. It all starts with the healthcare marketplace that officially opened October 1st. Marshall Campbell, the Concord University Human Resources Director, helped to explain what this meant for the Mountain State.
For example, companies will decide whether they want to bid and provide insurance in the state of West Virginia or in the state of Michigan or New York or wherever. And so there's a market that's set up for each of those states.
The idea behind the marketplace was to bring down insurance rates by increasing competition between companies. States had the opportunity to choose a federal partnership or create an individualized plan ran by the state themselves. West Virginia voted against the feds and is now behind as they are still working on a partnership. There have also been problems with the federal website. I logged on to healthcare.gov and was kicked off several times due to service errors. The White House recently told reporters that the site should be fully functioning by November 30th. But don't panic. Penalties don't start until after March 31st for those who don't have insurance. And those penalties will be small at first and gradually rise in 2014. The penalty will be the greater of $95 or 1% of household income. But by 2016, this will increase to $695 or 2.5% of household income. Campbell also dispelled a myth that you could lose your current health insurance because of the act.
That if you already have insurance through your employer, you probably don't need to worry about it. That insurance continues.
Then what should West Virginians be concerned about?
I think one of the concerns that West Virginians should have, as anyone else across the country, is how much is this program going to cost as far as a total dollar, bottom line dollar to our government.
For now, the jury is still out. More information on America's healthcare reform can be found on the Kaiser Family Foundation website at kff.org/health-reform. For WMLT News, I'm Jared Klein.
Music filled Concord's University Point Chapel as marimba players brought their unique musical talents to the campus beautiful. Brian Allen spoke with the duo before their performance.
Turning Point is the name of the marimba duo featuring staff accompanist Laurel Black from Concord University and the EQ Ensemble's primary conductor Matt Sharrock from Boston. They were preparing for their third concert in a debut tour of state universities including Marshall, WVU, Concord University, and Fairmont State. Their name, Turning Point, represents where they are in their career as a duo, moving from playing together to touring. The evening was special for both musicians.
We've really been looking forward to it for months since we've had it planned, and we are really excited about this space. The marimba sounds great in here.
Their music selections for the evening included pieces by George Gershwin, Andrew Thomas, and Andrew Paul Jackson, who wrote a piece composed just for Turning Point. They chose the marimba because they both enjoy the sound the instrument creates, and that it involves the entire body while playing. The instrument itself has an interesting history.
The idea of a tuned xylophone with gourd resonators was brought to the Americas as a result of the slave trade, and it became very popular in southern Central America. In fact, in Guatemala and Costa Rica, it is the national instrument.
The duo has tentative plans for a New England tour, though no dates have been set. Both performers hope the audience takes something from the concert that communicates to them musically. For WMLT News, I'm Brian Allen.
A name usually associated with Germany and beer landed in Athens last week. Concord University's Student Activities Commission hosted the first Oktoberfest. Despite the dry Oktoberfest, as Austin Best reports, the event was a crowd pleaser, and this was in spite of the lack of alcohol.
Student Activities Committee brought seasonal fun to the Campus Beautiful last week. With a Halloween-based theme, prizes, free food and drink, and 2 DJs, the event brought in over 300 students. The event was scheduled to begin at 9 p.m., but due to large lines of eager people, it was delayed momentarily. Andrew Solgit, Director of Student Activities Committee, or SAC, expressed his thoughts on the turnout.
Were you pleased with it?
I couldn't have asked for more. There are a couple hundred people there, and anytime you get a couple hundred people come out to anything, you've probably been successful.
Although some of the fraternities and sororities were required to attend Oktoberfest, the majority of the crowd seemed to be willing attendance. Prizes were given to participants who, throughout the previous weeks, found hidden ducks. Prizes included Sony surround sound equipment, newly released movies and games, a flat-screen TV, and the grand prize, a PlayStation 4 certificate. Garrett Mustard was one of the many students who participated in the duck hunt.
Oh, I found a lot of ducks. I followed the guy, so I found 11, so hopefully I win a prize.
The event was different from the traditional blacklight bingo and movie night events on campus. This up-tempo style attracted a diverse community to the Valley. Garrett Mustard says it was the energy of the crowd that attracted him to Oktoberfest.
Oh yeah, anytime you have awesome prizes like they got and good music, people are going to come to those, especially if it's free. College students, they can't afford these $20 concert tickets, so this is a good thing to come out and be with your friends and everything like that.
Solgit says he's working to find a way to bring Oktoberfest to the spring.
Changing the theme of it, to be something that's more conducive to spring, and I'm not sure exactly what direction we'll take that, but absolutely. It seemed like there was a desire by people to have something like this on campus. A lot of people seem like they're having a really good time. So yeah, absolutely. I think this could be a semesterly thing.
Next up on the entertainment list, a canned food drive bingo and a student-based talent show competition. For WMLT News, I'm Austin Bess in Athens.
Railroad Days visited Hinton again, as Chance Razzo reports.
The 47th Annual Railroad Days in Hinton, West Virginia ended with another great year last Sunday on the 27th. Railroad Days is a 2-weekend-long event where 2 blocks of Temple Street are closed off for various local artisans and food vendors open to the public.
I love trains. I love people. This has both. And food. I love food too.
With local bands and railroad memorabilia, Railroad Days is steeped in local culture. One interesting aspect is using the train to bring in visitors.
This year, 1,200 people have came from Huntington, West Virginia to visit Hinton on Railroad Days, and you can see the people unloading off the train behind me.
The large crowd helps raise awareness and revenue for local organizations.
This is our second largest fundraiser of the year. We bring in probably over $2,000 for spay-neuter in our community.
It's a good weekend. We are here for 2 weekends. We have actual 4 selling days, and there's, as you can see, a large crowd milling through, so it definitely has a good impact on business.
The Hinton Railroad Museum has also benefited, which is filled with historic art and railroad artifacts that locals present.
The man that had our house built had buried his money in the ground during the Civil War because both sides came through here. And after the war, he dug it up, and this other man had 6 grown boys and no money, and he gave them $80, and they cut the trees and built the house for $80.
The museum's upper floor features a model train exhibit that is displayed year-round.
Everybody seems to enjoy them. I always say, if I don't worry about the crowds. I say if I just see a couple young kids with smiles on their face, then I'm happy. It's worthwhile.
From WMLT News, I'm Chance Razzo.
The second half of our WMLT Newscast will continue after this short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to WMLT News. I'm Richard Babbage. The home where Steve Jobs spent his childhood and built some of his first computers is getting some special recognition. The Silicon Valley home got onto the City of Los Altos list of historical properties. The Historical Commission for the city made the unanimous decision. The home is currently owned by Steve Jobs' sister, Patricia. Patricia helped Jobs build the first 100 Apple I computers at his home, which went on to the market at $500 each. Steve Jobs went on to become the owner of Apple and led the company to dominate the smartphone market. Jobs died in 2011 of complications from pancreatic cancer.
Craig Scott Jones brought Poe back to life on October 25th in the Marsh Library. Reporter Cassidy Caro has more on his compelling performance.
I'm Scott Craig Jones with the Traveling Jones Theater. This is Edgar Allan Poe Comes Alive.
Families, students, and people of all ages flocked out to the Concord University campus to the Marsh Library on Friday, October 25th, to see a presentation called Edgar Allan Poe Comes Alive, presented by Craig Scott Jones of the Traveling Jones Theater. It's a one-man show that includes 8 of Poe's masterworks in their entirety. The show was free and open to the public. Turnout was more than expected, filling over 125 seats.
It was a dark and frigid evening. No, seriously, it is dark and frigid out there. You know?
The show was one to remember, educational and entertaining. And the chances of the show returning are pretty good.
The Chuck Mathena Center hosted the first event for ROAD, which stands for Resources for Overcoming Adversity and Disability. Chad Brown has more.
ROAD is a partnership between several organizations meant to help West Virginians overcome challenges. The group hosted a program at the Chuck Mathena Center, which was its first act as an official organization. Clay Dyer was the featured speaker. He is a professional fisherman, although he is nearly limbless. He urged the audience to keep pressing forward no matter the situation.
And I don't want to see you be defeated. I don't want to see you have your happiness stripped. I don't want to see you have your joy ripped out of your heart. I want to see you be successful. And I want to see you let absolutely nothing hold you back from getting there. Because I've not let anything hold me back, and I won't let you anything hold you back either. That's what motivates me. If I can, you can.
The event also included a community resource fair that featured representatives of groups involved in the partnership. Event coordinator and Concord representative Nancy Ellison hopes that ROAD will equip and encourage West Virginia residents to not let any kind of adversity get the best of them. Ellison also says the ROAD program hopes to make this an annual event. In the meantime, partnership organizations plan to be active in Mercer County, working to ensure no West Virginian lets adversity overcome them. Reporting for WMLT News, I'm Chad Brown, Princeton.
That wraps up this week's WMLT Newscast. I'm Richard Babbage.
And I'm Brian Allen. Tune in again in 2 weeks for more news from Concord University. Thanks.